welcome to the second episode of Let's Talk About Songwriting, where I, Adam Kidd, from the band Fragile Creatures, I'm going to talk you through how I wrote the songs that we're releasing. So this is our latest single, Don't Know What to Do. The song was always supposed to be about an uncertain period. So the phrase "don't know what to do" was there in the early Genesis, and it kind of dictated the way that the chord sequences would go. So I begin with this fairly standard kind of Motown-inspired E major groove. E major, A flat minor, and then suddenly a change. We step to a chord that's outside of the E major key, E flat major, with a little step down by a D to C sharp minor, and then a little course correcting B major to bring us back to the E. E, A flat minor, E flat, C sharp minor, B, and that was quite fun. I felt it had a vibe to it. I liked playing around with it, and then I wanted to take us somewhere else. So the natural place to go was to the A, up to that C sharp minor we've already been using, and then down to F sharp. Again, like wanting to step out of the expected chord. We're comfortably in an E major scale, and then we go to F sharp, which surprises us. I also wanted to institute this thing where, you know, having not had much musical education in sort of how to play the guitar or how to write songs or anything, my thinking has always been, I suppose, in blocks, and I find that blocks get boring if they're always in sequences of 4. So I realised there was something quite nice about going from this A to the C sharp minor to the F sharp and then back to the A. But rather than then holding the A for double, I thought, well, that's just going to be the sequence. It's going to be 3 chords. And then 1, 2, 3, 1. See, like looping around like that. And then eventually I started to work out that I could just go on forever like that. So to get myself out of it, I would rest twice on the F sharp instead. And the song varies between whether it's doing 3s or 4s with the extra F sharp in all of the choruses. As it develops into a sort of instrumental passage after the main vocal chorus, I just started playing an arpeggio. The one that I was playing the intro. Which is playing around with these open B string that's ringing the whole way through. So on the C sharp, that means I'm playing B to B with the C sharp in there then. So just emphasizing those notes kind of created this slightly psychedelic weirdness, especially with a bit of delay on it and stuff. And then one time in the song, we do a F sharp minor. That's all the chords to the song. Now I'll briefly talk through the lyrics because I think it's fairly self-explanatory. I'm in this state of flux in my life. I'm not sure what to do. And I think everyone was feeling in a similar way with lockdown. We had all this time to think about ourselves and who we are and where we're going and what choices we make. And I was thinking a lot about this sort of, do I carry on making music? So my opening line's about Plato had it easy. The right place, right time. To write down his lessons and make them last through time. Which is maybe a strange idea, this thought of Plato having it easy. But if you didn't know, Plato is most famous for writing down the words of his teacher, Socrates. And this kind of tied in with me with the idea of musicians and artists sort of standing on the shoulder of giants, looking at the opportunities they had back in the 60s, how much harder it is to break through now. Or really, the hard thing is probably the volume of artists. There are over 100,000 tracks a day being released to Spotify last time I heard, which is insane. And so that kind of creates a sea of noise. It's harder and harder to stand out against. And really, is that your purpose for making music anyway, or is it artistic, you know? And I wanted to kind of have fun with the lyrics on this, so I'm bringing in each verse references to different characters. In the second verse, I've said I don't know what to do, so I did my research. I looked it up online. I asked Jeeves being a website from the mid-90s, as a sort of in-joke about being a bit out of date and not really knowing what you're doing. He shrugged and deeply sighed, so even Jeeves is not impressed. And then I go on to talk about Frank Sinatra being someone with natural talent, with beautiful blue eyes, and these being things that you don't necessarily possess. You have to have these attributes. And actually the truth of not wanting to keep dancing because you get tired, you know, not having that insane drive that certain musicians have. So, you know, maybe a familiar sense that some of us will feel about not really comparing to those people, not having that level of obsessive focus that is needed, perhaps. And I think probably the most affecting lyrics, I think, for me is my final verse, which is about you know, the key line being, will the seats lie empty when we're standing on the stage? I don't want the dreaming, I don't want the hope. I gave my all already, and now I wish I'd never spoke. If everyone's an artist, then who is left to gaze? What I really wanted to talk about here was how, again, that flooding of the scene with artistry, and that maybe the act of performance, the act of creation of the art is being forgotten or misplaced in a real focus on trying to be seen, trying to stand out, trying to, you know, sometimes we're, you know, when I went to music college and did a master's in the music industry, and I suppose part of my thinking was all of the self sort of introspection that this course had me doing as I thought of myself as a product, try to conjure up a brand. And I suppose my real kind of takeaway from that was that I just wanted to allow the artistic side of what I was doing to be the most important, rather than a focus on financial achievement. So, you know, for example, doing this video because I really enjoy this kind of content on YouTube. I find it very informative, and so I wanted to be able to contribute to that conversation a little bit. Partly because I don't just want to be another person trying to get as many TikTok hits as possible. I think sometimes the music is getting lost. And yeah, I don't know what to do. It's a lot of questions. It sounds kind of quite miserable, but I think really I was more poking fun at myself and people like me, um, but in a positive way. I think it was a way of looking at myself and my situation and self-therapizing. If you can't laugh at yourself, if you can't see the funny side, then you can't really progress. You get stuck in a rut, you feel frustrated, and you stop creating, which is the real tragedy. So I think, recognizing that music is like a food for the soul as being the most important thing is one of the best things that you can focus on as a songwriter. Not how many hits it's going to get at the end of the day. Write songs that you're going to enjoy, and every now and again one of them's going to be great, I'm sure. Anyway, do like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. I will do some more things like this, I think, plus the regular band stuff, and there'll probably be some videos recommended around here somewhere. Go and check some other stuff out if this is your first time here. Thank you.